Well, Chris, it's on foot this time.
So you did one last year, didn't you? So, I mean, it's so impressive.
That England stuttered in both games.
Yeah, I think against Austria, he looked better.
Hello, everybody, welcome. And welcome to our first episode of the Euros edition of the Football Lab podcast. We're here again. It's myself, James. Hello, James.
Hi, Chris. How you doing?
All good? Pete, hello. Pete is there, I can guarantee, even though... Hello, Pete's there. And we've also got with us Jon Ripley. Hello, John.
Hello.
Hello. John's joining us in sort of the preparation stages of a very exciting challenge you're doing, John, cycling across the UK. Perhaps you could sort of explain that to us.
Well, Chris, it's on foot this time. We did a cycle last year. It's a 155-mile walk from Rotherham to London's King's Cross. And we're going to try and do it over 7 days.
That's amazing. And you're raising money for a couple of charities, is that right?
Yeah, so it'll be Walk and Talk. I've worked with these for the last year and a half, where they organise football trips from different football grounds. Lee, who is the creator of this, is a Fulham fan. We did Brighton to Arsenal a few weeks ago, which was 53 miles over 24 hours. And that was a good challenge, to be honest. And the other charity is Cancer Research UK.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it really is amazing what you're doing. It's not even the first time. You've done it. You did one last year, didn't you? So, I mean, it's so impressive. And we'll put a link in the description of the podcast and a video to donate so everybody can go on there. Hopefully give you some money for what is quite a challenge for us. Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's get going. Our team of the week this week is good old England, as we all know. Euros are coming up. England have had two of their friendly games not long ago against Austria and Romania. It won both games, but there's a couple of sort of issues with Trent. So let's start with them, the friendlies. How did everybody think England did in those games?
Personally, in my opinion, well, I was lucky enough to attend both of these games. I don't want to steal all the spotlight from everybody else. But personally, with watching the action, we managed to pull victory from both games. And the gameplay was good. You know, all the players who missed out on the Euros, what's coming up, this gave them a chance to, you know, have future chances with other competitions if they're still around at that time. So, yeah, overall, it was an entertaining game for both of them.
Yeah, I think that England were lucky to win, especially yesterday in the Romania game. I mean, penalty they missed. I mean, Henderson was kind of laughing about it after the game. It was all a bit of a joke that he'd taken the ball off. I can't remember who it was. But, you know, if England had drawn that game, then he'd miss a penalty. And if that was actually in the tournament, wouldn't be quite so funny, would it? So it's easy to kind of laugh about it afterwards, but actually, it's quite serious when you're missing a penalty in an international game. So good.
But you've got to give it to Austria and Romania. They both played, you know, they're the away teams, and they played extremely well. They had their chances, and it's a shame they didn't score, but end of the day, they did doubt players at times, and you got to give it to them for that.
Yeah, I would say that England stuttered in both games. I think that it would have been more convincing if they were able to win 2 or 3-0 in both matches. So they looked a bit blunt up front, didn't seem to have much firepower. I think it was really promising. Okay, Osaka scored his first goal for England. Good tap-in. So this is just a tap-in, but it was a good build-up play from Jesse Lingard, who's not going to the Euros, so it's good that he cared enough to play well. I don't think they played well against Romania. I think that they played better against Austria than they did against Romania. And didn't put Henderson up for a penalty ever. Like, he is a great captain for Liverpool, don't get me wrong, and he worked hard. Adds a lot to the team, and Liverpool really miss him when he's not there. But he doesn't score many goals. I don't really trust him in front of goal. So, yeah, I wouldn't put him into the game.
What did you think, Pete? I'm not sure if you can there and we can hear you. But, give it a go. Yeah, we can't quite hear you. I'm not sure why. Perhaps you might.
What about now?
Yeah, hello, Pete.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I think against Austria, I think it looked better. Against Romania, it lacked a bit, especially there were 2 penalties, only 1 taken. Against a team that Romania finished 4th in the qualification group, and England kind of struggled. You can see that England had 19 shots, but Romania had 14. It could have, Romania had the chances, and they could have scored as well. So, but to be fair, it's only a friendly game. It's a practice. Obviously, England is not going to go fully out there, as it's only a friendly. They don't want to repeat the situation with Trent, what happened with Trent against when we played against Austria. So you never know with these games. It doesn't really reflect the true form of the team.
Yeah, I mean, with Trent, I feel that's a big loss because I mean, Southgate was like reticent to take him in the first place. Like, he wasn't even going to include it in the squad. So for him, decision making wise, it's probably quite good that he's injured, as it takes that sort of decision out of his head. But I do think it's poor for England. I think England's main sticking point is the defence. If you think Harry Kane up front and they've got Sterling in midfield, a really strong sort of attacking half, and Jordan Pickford's a great sort of keeper as well. But in defence, I feel like that's where they really lack. So not having Trent is going to be an issue. I felt like it was a right decision to replace him with Ben White as opposed to, say, Jesse Lingard or somebody. But I can see that being England's sort of sticking point in the tournament where you can score goals, but just can't sort of keep them out. And Dabo's wings, I can imagine other teams are going to exploit them there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's difficult to know in international because players don't play with each other each week. And a lot of time with the sort of golden generation of Beckhams, Owens, Jars and Lampard, they were all really good players in themselves, but they didn't have like a team ethic where they could all sort of play for each other. But I think in 2018, we sort of saw this team is a little bit immune to that, and the players, they do get on a lot, and hopefully that can sort of carry on now. Because the team in many ways is kind of the same. It's not changed a huge amount. Still got Harry Kane in there, Tenson in there, another key player, Jordan Pickford. So hopefully that can sort of carry on now. But it's effectively a home tournament, so you just never know, do you? Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I was just going to say that all 3 group games are being at Wembley. So Chris is right. I think it will feel like home for them. I was really happy that Trent made the England squad. Since he was dropped in February, his delivery's been first class for England in terms of first class for Liverpool. In terms of, he's played well. He's scored in the last minute against Villa. His assist for Diego Jota as well was also top class. I think I can't quite remember the match that he scored that header, but Trent has been playing well for Liverpool, so I'm pleased that he made the team, and he's been making a big contribution for England in the past. So it's a shame that he got injured. I personally would have picked James Ward-Prowse. I do feel like if England do bad at this tournament and not out in the group stage or in the knockout rounds, or don't make the semis or the final, go deep into it, the media will ask questions and be like, why were 4 right backs picked? Why were too many different picked? Why are there not many midfielders? Where's the balance in the team? So for me, I would have picked James Ward-Prowse because he's delivered for England. He scored for England before as well in his debut. He's very good at set pieces. So I'm surprised they picked Ben White, but I think it's him because he's a great player and he's got a lot of potential. I also wouldn't have taken Henderson or Maguire. I wouldn't have taken players that are injured because that's not worked out in the past. But we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, it's true. It's difficult to know how England will sort of move on in 2018 as well, because that was such a massive sort of tournament and so many people are behind it. And you kind of hope that happens again, but you can just never be sure. I mean, maybe that team's been kind of scarred now. I mean, a lot of the team from 1990 and 96, when England got to a semi-final and lost sort of similarly, never really had a good tournament after that. So England never seemed to have like 2 tournaments in a row where they do really well. In fact, between 2000 and '96 and 2018. We didn't get further in the quarterfinals in any tournament, so it's really hard to see sort of where England are gonna get their motivation from. Well, there's a lot of pressure behind them, and there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be relying on them to do really well. So we just don't know, I suppose. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they are motivated definitely after the World Cup, but I think many people right now are putting so much pressure on them. Many people are saying that they are favored to win, putting England next to France, Belgium, but that could be too big pressure as well. I think if you need to trust in them, and I think they have the capabilities of winning the tournament. Definitely, I think they are a better team than England 10 years ago with all the superstars, because they now can work together on the pitch and communicate, whereas before, like Lampard and Gerrard, it was ego individualistic, and it didn't work. So
it's definitely true. Yeah, it's true. So that kind of brings us on to our next sort of topic, I suppose, which is dark horses. So I think in 2016 of the Euro, it was a big sort of dark horse aspect that Wales did really well to the semi-finals, as nobody expected. And Poland, not Poland, Iceland, something very similar when they got to the quarters, knocks out England, and they weren't really expected to get out of the group in the first place. And there's other examples of it, like Colombia in the World Cup in 2014, Greece in 2004, Denmark in '92. So I think there's a big chance of there being a big sort of shock or dark horse that comes up the rear in this tournament. Has anybody got any sort of predictions on who might sort of surprise us there?
I think Turkey. I'm going with Turkey as a dark horse. If you look at the qualification, they finished second, but they had France in the group. And to be fair, they have only been 2 points away from Turkey, from France, losing the same games as France, so only one. So I think they definitely have been building a strong squad, and they have the manager, Şenol Güneş, is the same manager that managed them in the 2002 World Cup, and he delivered the bronze medal with him back then. So definitely there's this communication with him that works. I think they might surprise us this summer.
Yeah, Turkey could be really good, I think. They're a great side, and they might have a lot of sort of motivation. Team-wide, I put my sort of money behind is Poland, actually. Pete will be pleased to hear that, I'm sure. But I think they've got a lot of big names, but they're not really seen as a big side, obviously. They got Lewandowski and Szczesny, other good players in midfield who've been scouted by Liverpool. So got that sort of world-class side that a lot of teams actually would really love to have. And their group is actually not too bad. They've got Spain, Sweden, and Slovakia. So it's not impossible to come second in that group. And then they'll get through to play a third-place team like Wales or Russia or Scotland, and that get them into the quarter-final if they can get through that. So then they're sort of the one game away from semis. So I think they could be really likely to sort of go far. I put them for semi-finalists, but it's always hard to sort of predict this league. I actually had a bet on Wales to win the tournament in 2016, so I was kind of quite lucky, I guess. But because it wasn't judgment, it was definitely luck.
Yeah. I was going to say that is that the manager? So that's the manager that got Turkey to the semi-finals of the World Cup 2002, Japan and South Korea.
Yeah, Şenol Güneş.
Well, that's awesome. They're bringing back 20 years later.
You got like a dark horse, James. Who would you call as being the team who's going to surprise us all?
You know what I was think is strange is that why isn't Norway at the tournament with like Erling Braut Haaland? And that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
They don't qualify.
Well, maybe they'll be a dark horse. It'd certainly be a massive shock if they won the tournament and they're not even in it. But you never know, do you?
Yeah. They finished third in the group behind Spain and Sweden.
You just don't.
No, if I had to I don't know if you would see Belgium as dark horses because it's quite a big team, but I think if they won it ahead of someone like Portugal, France, Germany, England, that will be a surprise. So I would say Belgium, but if you mean dark horse and as someone people wouldn't expect, like a Greece Euro 2004 kind of thing, then yeah, probably maybe Poland or Sweden.
I think Belgium are really interesting. If you think of their squad, they're sort of going through now what England went through in the noughties with like a massive team of really good players. Like Hazard is the perfect example where he's a world class player, and they've not really had that sort of a squad before. And they haven't kind of underachieved quite like England did in the noughties. They came third in the last World Cup. I think they've come close to reaching expectations than England did. But I definitely think that it'd be a shock if they won the tournament. I can see them getting to the semi-finals, but yeah, I think winning might be a step too far for them. Who knows? So I guess we can move on onto the groups then. I mean, normally in Euros until 2016 it was 4 groups and now there's 6. So for those who don't know, if you come first or second in the group, you go through to the knockout stages, and then the sort of 4 best third place teams also go through the 4 best third place teams in terms of points. So those who get the most points actually go through. And in 2016, Portugal, who won the tournament, actually went through the third place team. So it had a sort of a significant effect on the tournament, that sort of rule, I guess. The group playing is the first one we're going to sort of focus on, and that's Italy, Wales, Turkey, and Switzerland. What does everybody think about that?
Italy, I think, is the favourites, and I think they have a strong squad. I know the Turkey is in there, and I said they are the dark horses, but I think Italy can win it, and I don't think they are dark horses because I think they have this good team. Roberto Mancini definitely kind of put the Italian spirit back into the culture because defensively wise they are strong, and yeah, I think they will not have a trouble winning that group, finishing first. I think the toughest game is going to be against Turkey. Switzerland can cause problems, and Wales I think is going to be the easiest.
Italy have got a tough sort of mountain to climb, I think. Mancini's in charge now. And I think 2018 didn't even qualify, what I remember. Such a shock for them. But Switzerland, not a bad side. They got Shaqiri, who's a great sort of little midfielder. Yeah, Wales as well, I guess. I think for them is they lost Ryan Giggs as manager, at least for the time being. So I don't know how that sort of affects the team. If you think of England in the Euros in 2012, I mean, Roy Hodgson, it wasn't the best manager in the world. He came in sort of a couple of months before the tournament, and England got to the quarterfinals, which is not a disrespectful sort of result, but certainly wasn't what England would want. So I'm not sure how that will affect the team. James or John, have you got any sort of insights on this group?
Personally, I like your friend said, I'll have to go with Italy as winning the group, to be honest. They won the 2006 World Cup, so, it's just how it is, isn't it? I think strongly they are the better team in the group.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely like a prestigious team, I guess. One of the teams a bit like sort of Brazil and Argentina and Germany, where they've got a lot of sort of history, but whether or not they live up to that is a different thing, I suppose.
Yeah, I think Italy have some fantastic players. Brea, they've got Lorenzo Insigne. So I think they've got weapons, and they should top the group. But it's always like on paper, it never comes out that way. So if it doesn't come out that way, Switzerland do have a all-round strong team from like defense up until attack. So there's a chance that Switzerland could top the group, but I'm not ruling out Turkey. Turkey still have some top players.
Yeah, and they have a great keeper. Gianluigi Donnarumma is a good keeper, and the qualification campaign actually was flawless. They won every single game, and they ended it with a 9-1 win against Armenia. So they're definitely on form, and I think they haven't been. I think they are unbeaten in 29 games. So definitely, there's this morale in the team.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting though. So you think of like Germany in 2018 when they were world champions at the time, and certainly one of the best teams in Europe and the world, and they went out in the group stage and lost to South Korea at one point. Just embarrassing for them. So yeah, what you say, John, is like on paper they're the favourites, but you know whether or not they replicate that is not always the same. And if you think of France in 2010 as well, not dissimilar. They had a great side. We got like Evra and other great players. I think Henri might have still been playing at the time, but they did awfully. I think what happened in group stage and get very far at all. So who knows? On now to groups B and C. I feel like these are the sort of less standout groups in the tournament. So we can sort of spend a couple of minutes on them. I guess the big teams are Belgium and Holland. How's everyone feel about their chances?
Belgium, I think they'll have easy to win this group. So I expect them to win all the games. I think the second is going to be either Denmark or Russia. Finland are outsiders of this group. It's the first time they qualified for Euros, so it's going to be a new experience for them. I wish them luck, but I don't see them really finishing anything else but fourth, maybe third, but I don't see it. In Group C, yeah, Netherlands will probably win it, but Ukraine can cause problems. Ukraine won their qualification group. They beat Portugal, and Portugal finished second. So you never know. But Austria, they'll be all right, but I don't see them winning against Ukraine or Netherlands. And North Macedonia are probably the weakest team in this competition. Also, the debutants, Goran Pandev, great player, but a bit aged now. But I wish them luck as well. But yeah, North Macedonia will definitely finish fourth, unfortunately.
I think Pete hit the nail on the head. I think it's difficult to know whether they win every game, Belgium, but because Russia are a good side. They did well at the last World Cup on home soil. I think Belgium to come top, and then Russia or Denmark to come second. And I think Group C, that should be Holland. And yeah, I don't know much about Ukraine, to be honest, or Austria, but I think that if Ukraine beat Portugal, then obviously they've got to be taken seriously.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. Each team, they're out to make a difference and, trying to win the group stages. So, there's going to be some upsets, going to be some good goals and, some, like I said, the upsets will be the real result for each team, really.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So I guess we can move on to kind of group that everyone's interested in, which is England group, which is Group D. So that's England, Croatia, Czech Republic and Scotland. And not only have we got a home nation sort of time there, England against Scotland at Wembley, there's also a repeat of the World Cup semi-final 2018 of England against Croatia, which is this Sunday. So how does everyone feel about that group? Who's going to win it, England or Croatia?
I think personally England will win it. We've had some history with Croatia in the past. England versus Scotland is the main game everybody's talking about, and it's a shame we can't have a full cap to watch it at Wembley. But, the crowd who are able to attend will make a good cheer out of it. And if we win in injury time, that's even better for us.
Yeah, I agree with John here that Croatia will probably lose the game. Their squad is now aged as well compared to the World Cup. Modric is now 30-something. Some of the guys left as well, and they do have like a wave of young players coming in, but I think it would take time for them to settle in before they achieve any results. So I think they will finish second, Croatia, but I don't think they will stand a chance against England on this one. And Czech Republic, I think it's going to be between Czech and Scotland to fight for the third position and possible qualification. Czech Republic has good side, Thomas Sutek, but you never know. It depends on the day, on the form of the day, and it's hard to predict how they will perform, really.
See, I disagree with you guys. I think it's going to be a draw. I think It's going to be 1-1, England and Croatia, because England historically aren't very good at winning their opening match, and they're slow to get into a tournament. They're slow starters, and Croatia have got very dangerous players, Kramaric and Perisic, Modric, all ending in it. But yeah, so I think that they will play well. I think they'll be up for it because they'll want to beat England at Wembley. So and I think they did it before actually. So yeah, I think that they're going to probably be the toughest match. And the Czech Republic and Scotland are not complete walkovers, but I think that'd be a really exciting match, the Scotland game, because that was they played at Euro '96 when Paul Gascoigne scored. So I think that'd be a really good game.
So far, I don't really thought about England's first game is often when they lose or draw. I guess if you think of every tournament since 2010, I think England have actually only won one of their first games, and that was in 2018, drew against US, drew against France, and then it was Italy in 2014, and then 2016 and 2018 weren't very exciting either. 2016 wasn't. So yeah, I think I can see England drawing against Croatia, but I feel like against the Czech Republic, they've got to win really. I mean, not beating a team like that would be embarrassing really. And then Scotland, again, we'd expect them to win that game, but again, Scotland are going to be hugely up for it. It's their first tournament since like 1998 or something, which is huge. But I think another thing in this group is that there's no kind of I feel like there's less chance for team coming third actually going through, because I think in order to still get through as a third place team, what you need is 3 sort of strong teams and then 1 kind of sort of rubbish team, like in Group F where there's 3 massive teams and then Hungary are not expected to do much, but actually I think you've got 2 big teams, Croatia and England, and 2 teams who aren't really expected to do much, Czech Republic and Scotland. So you probably expect England, Croatia to beat the other 2 teams in both those matches. And Czech Republic and Scotland are probably only going to get points from going against each other. So I sort of feel like it's England, Croatia go through and then to go out.
I think England beat Czech Republic at home in the qualification 5-0. I think if they lost in Prague, would England beat Czech Republic 5-0 at home? So I don't see a chance for Czech Republic, especially at a big tournament, to cause an upset there. Scotland, they had to fight their way through the playoffs to make it to the European competition after many years of missing out on the tournament, but finally they made it. They beat Serbia, so I played to them. Serbia has a strong team. So, but I don't see them causing an upset either.
I think that when you think about Northern Ireland, though, if you think of Scotland and Northern Ireland, I guess they're not a similar team, but they're both our home nation. Northern Ireland, until probably 2016, weren't really a very well-respected team. Just seems like a lower team. It was embarrassing to lose to. And then in 2016, I think they got to the quarterfinals and did pretty well in 2018 as well, from what I remember. So there's a good chance that you can get an upset like that. Maybe with Scotland being hugely up for it, the first tournament in a long time. Well, I guess we'll have to see. I just don't know.
Even if we don't get far in the competition, we've still got Scotland, home or wherever it is we're playing them, Wembley. So, it's an entertaining game ahead. So, it makes up for if we get knocked out of the group stages. So, like I said, England versus Scotland, you can't ask for much more, can you?
Yeah,
True.
That's almost like when England played Wales at the last Euros and scored in the last minute. I think it's going to be interesting to see who England start with, because me personally, I'll play Rashford, Kane and Sancho up front, and I'll put Sterling on the bench. So I don't think he's playing very well these last couple of months. He's not played very well. And also, it's a shame that Trent's obviously out with his injury, but at least I think Kieran Trippier scored that amazing free kick against Croatia at the World Cup, so he will be probably the main player for set pieces, for corners, free kicks. I think it's a great opportunity for Ben White if he gets to play for England. So You support Brighton, Chris, so I think that's
I've not been Whiting, absolutely. First Brighton player to be in English squad for, I don't know, it's a long time. So.
I think it's the first competition we had Jamie Vardy in it. I think. I could be wrong.
That's true. Yeah, because he's sort of mostly retired now. He said he'd come back because of an injury crisis, but yeah, it's true. Maybe that's going to be a problem for England. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to rely on
Harry Kane. Yeah, if Harry Kane stays fit, I think England are okay. But whether you can be sure of that, I don't know. He was injured in was it April time, I think, and there was a bit of question if he get into this tournament. So
he did well last Wednesday in the friendly. He did have a few chances, so he's proven that he's been able to play for England.
I still feel they should have picked Danny Ings because he's scored about 18 odd goals or something. And if he played for Man United or Liverpool still or City, they would have picked him. But because it's Southampton, they didn't pick him. Patrick Bamford scored a lot. They didn't pick him, so they're going to have to hope the strikers they have picked are going to score. I'm surprised Saka got picked, but hopefully he'll do well.
Well, there's a lot of big competition to get into the England squad. There are many good players, and not everyone can get in. You have to choose their manager.
Yeah, it's a shame Championship players don't get the chance to play, but it's very rare.
Mm-hmm. I think the last player to make an impact in the Championship must have been David Nugent. I think he's got the best England record of anybody. Played one, scored one, which is 100% squirm record. He did a tap in from Theo Walcott's shot, but anyway, it's a pretty proud record for him. We'll move on though to another group, which is Group E, which is maybe one where we could see a bit of an upset. The Spain are sort of the favourites, I suppose. We've also got Poland and Sweden who are decent teams. So, has anybody got any predictions for that group?
Let Pete start because he's the expert.
Well, I don't see any other option than Spain winning that group comfortably. They beat Sweden in the qualifications. They won the group with Sweden in it, so I don't see why they couldn't do it again. Yes, there is a bit of all this kind of problems with Spain now. They didn't call up any Real Madrid players for the team for the Euros. But to be fair, I don't blame them. Real Madrid had an awful season, and there really isn't anyone to pick from. Against Poland, I don't see Spain struggling much as well. Lewandowski is going to be marked up, and so basically he will have nothing to do because he's the only one good player in the team, and he will be cut off anyway. And the other strikers are just not really good, to be fair. But
I think he'll score about 5. Robert, anyway, because he's a goal machine at the moment, and he's so can't fool him for that.
Yeah, I'm saying he's good, but in the national team, he's always struggled more because he doesn't have such a good teammates as he has in Bayern, and that's why if you look at the competitions, like in the World Cup, he didn't even score a goal in Euros in 2016. We reached the quarterfinals, and he only scored 1. So yeah, he's great, but probably the other teammates will let him down. But I still see Poland fighting for second position with Sweden. I think Sweden and Poland are kind of similar teams in terms of the power. Slovakia is probably the outsider. It's very important for us to win the first game. James said that England usually bottles the opening games, so does Poland. So hopefully you can win that game. And if we win against Slovakia, then we'll probably have a chance of maybe clinching on to second.
Yeah, going back to England bottling it, I remember World Cup 2002, Sol Campbell scored a header, looked like they were going to beat Sweden, drew 1-1. And I think they were 1-0 up against France, Euro 2004, and then lost 2-1, 2 Zidane goals, Zidane free kick last minute. So they never seem to, seem to disappoint in the first game. But
we all remember 2010 with the Rock Green through his legs.
Yeah, I think Poland are a very dangerous team. I'm not just saying that because of Pete, but you don't want to play them in the quarterfinals or something, because I remember they got to the quarterfinals of the last Euros and I think they played Wales, and Wales just
No, Portugal.
was it Portugal? I can't
Portugal.
remember. Portugal.
With penalties.
Penalties. So they are resilient. They're a good team. They're difficult to beat. And I think Luis Enrique and Spain will probably top the group. I didn't know that they hadn't picked any Real Madrid players. Like, I'm not sure if they didn't pick Sergio Ramos, Isco,
No. He's not in the squad.
Marco Asensio, Lucas Vasquez.
No.
Okay. So yeah, I think Spain will top, and I think it'll be between Poland and Sweden. The fact that Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who's still a goal machine, like 38, 39, isn't playing, I think that will give Poland the edge to get second. But don't be surprised if Poland top the group, because you one of these big teams like England, Spain, France, Germany, one of them's going to play poorly. So.
100%.
Spain struggled against Ukraine recently. Well, and against Greece. We'll see. I know that Poland has a bad record against Sweden. Hopefully we can change it. I do see us as a strong team, especially with our new coach, the Portuguese coach. I think he's introduced a better motivation than our last coach. So hopefully we play more attacking football, there's more tactics in it than rather just playing without any, thought to it.
Mm-hmm. So that kind of mentioned Portugal, Pete, and kind of sort of brings us on to Group F, I guess, which is the group of death, as you might say. It's Portugal, France, Germany, and Hungary, and maybe the sort of team who are less likely to win. But there's three teams there I think could easily see in the final. Portugal are European champions, France are world champions, and Germany won the tournament before that. First three winners of the last three major tournaments from a European perspective, all in the same group. So I kind of feel that France are definitely going to go through. Actually, I'd have them as favorites win the tournament. And Germany have got to go through as well, I think. And I can see Portugal getting third place and going through on a sort of points decision. That'd be my sort of prediction, because they've got Ronaldo, which I understand that, but I sort of feel a bit of a one-man team now. Kind of, you think of players, Pepe, who's kind of past it now, and Nani, who's not really there anymore. I feel like they are kind of a one-man team, and they're not really going to succeed.
They do have João Felix, and there's the Silva as well, Thiago Silva. Well, not Thiago, was him. I know his last name is Silva, and he's good. Well, I'm going to say Hungary, poor Hungary. It's been drawn into a very tough group. We're going to lose all the games, let's be real. But Portugal, France, and Germany, it might seem obvious that France is going to win the group, but who knows? Imagine France finishing third. That is possible because Germany and Portugal both have in the locker to beat France. And, but I think all three teams will be through to the next round anyway.
I think Portugal was the underdogs in the last competition, I think it was. And they came out on top, so you never know, they might do it again. So only time will tell.
That's true. You never know. I do feel like there's going to be three teams go through on this one, but for Germany as well, I do feel can't be sure with them. I mean, in the last World Cup, they didn't really do very well. They did the worst tournament since the early noughties, I think. So you can just never be sure. Lost to South Korea, like I mentioned earlier. It's not quite, it's not easy. Joachim Löw has sort of indicated he's on his last leg. He's not going to be there for much longer. I'm not sure that the manager any good when they kind of say, I'm leaving soon and it's my last tournament. I think it's supposed to be his last tournament in 2018, but that's kind of sort of been delayed now. It's not ideal for him. If you think of Wenger at Arsenal, who's always said, I'm leaving, and then he never really did. So I'm not sure if they're obviously. I still have them as my sort of prediction for the second, but you just can't be sure.
See, I think. Sorry, Pete. You go, Pete.
Go on, because you didn't give your prediction. Go on.
I was going to say, I think that Germany have not got to the same high standards that they were a few years ago, and I think France are probably the team to beat, just because Kylian Mbappe, Paul Pogba, those players play really well together. They gel well as a team. They've got leaders in the team, are very talented players as well. So I think France will top. And if Portugal, if they play their best, then I think they can come second. But I wouldn't rule Germany out completely, but they're just not the team they were.
We can't hear you, Pete. I'm not sure if you're speaking.
Yeah, Germany lost to North Macedonia. 2-1.
I do remember that.
1-0, I mean. So, you know, they are lucky in form. Joachim Löw been with the team for a long time, like 15 years. So maybe change is needed. I see France winning the group. Germany, I don't know. Yeah, France winning the group. I don't know for the second and third. Germany and Portugal. It might be a draw.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, but talking of the predictions, moves us on to our last session, which is our prediction tournament. So we're each going to sort of predict first, second, and third, and then at the end of the tournament, we can return to this and see what we think. For what it's worth, I'm going to go for France to win the tournament. I feel like their sort of strength in depth with Oliver Giroud, especially, is really there. Griezmann's there as well. He won the World Cup in 2018. I have them as winning the tournament. I've got Belgium in second place as well. I feel like I said earlier, they've got a bit of a sort of golden generation, and they've almost lived up to that actually in coming third in 2018. Not doing too badly in 2016 either. Lost to Wales, I think, in the quarters. So I think England then will be in third place. I think getting to the semis is kind of a benchmark for England, but I could see the finals being a step too far. If England do get to the final, I can see winning it, but I'm not sure if the final is really far enough for England. And I want to make sure that, you know, I'm not the kind of person to like always say England are going to win the tournament. I don't think I've ever said that before. This is probably the best prediction I've had for England for like my whole life. So I'm not the kind of person that gets an England tattoo of it's coming home and then it's all here's after the tournament. But I think that's going to happen. There we go.
It'd be good to see England versus Scotland in the final, to be honest. You know, then it'd be a good turnout, sellout, and atmosphere-wise.
Mm-hmm. That'd be a huge shock if that happened, but you never know, I guess.
I think
you never know. You just never know.
I'm gonna shock all of you. I think a little bit, maybe not. I think Italy will win the Euros. I think it will be Italy-France final, a bit of a repeat from the World Cup 2006. I think Italy will win, and it's gonna be in third. I'm gonna say England or Belgium as well.
Okay, so it's going to be a Zidane headbutt. No.
Hopefully.
Easier.
That's right. I think France will win, and I'm going to say I think Italy second, just because Roberto Mancini, and I think Spain will get to the semis. Luis Enrique is a good coach, and I think if I had to pick another semi-finalists, I'd probably say is maybe Netherlands and England quarterfinals. So that's my prediction.
I think France will probably win it. Sorry, Pete. I think personally France will win it. You know, they've got, like you said, players like Giroud, who's had a interesting career with trophies. Arsenal, Chelsea, you know, and the same with Kante. You know, he's quite an interesting character himself. So yeah, it'd be good for France to win something else again. So that's my prediction.
Yeah, I think if France win it, N'Golo Kante probably going to win the Golden Ball. I think because he won the Champions League with Chelsea and then the Euro, so that will be possible.
Yeah.
You mentioned Holland games. I just don't really predict much from them, if I'm honest. I think they did well. I think 2014 World Cup. But sort of more recently, I'm not sure if the results are the same. Drew with Scotland not too long ago, and I mean Scotland are not a bad side, but certainly not the sort of team you need to beat in order to sort of get any further. But their group is fairly easy. I can see them getting through. But the final, I think, would be too far for them. With either quarterfinals is more realistic, if you ask me. So that's what I guess.
I agree on that.
Anyhow, right. So that's the end of our first episode of our Euros mini series of Football Podcast. Thank you to John, James, and Pete for coming along.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Thank you, John, for coming along.
Yeah, thanks, John.
My pleasure.
And the first game of the Euros is on Friday, Turkey against Italy, and England start campaign against Croatia on Sunday. We'll be back in a week's time after those games. Our team of the week, which is Croatia that week. Hope you'll join us then. See you later. Bye.